Hello YouTube, hello, and we're back again with another one. I'm doing pretty quick speed laps these days, and this time it's gonna be Leo. So the three characters I did was Lars, Elisa, and now Leo, because I think these three characters are one of the most annoying ones to face. There are a lot other ones as well, and most likely I'll do them, but I was thinking about maybe waiting for the emergency patch first, which is gonna be mid-May, but I'll see. I will see. So yeah, let's talk about Leo for now. So Leo as a character got a lot of buffs, like a lot of buffs, and he is much stronger now. Much stronger in my opinion, and with a lot of people's opinion as well. He's very annoying to deal with, and a lot of new stuff that just is hard to deal with in general. So let's talk about them. So as I said, even in my previous speed labs, I'm going to be talking about only Season 2 stuff, and I'm not going to talk about the stuff that already existed in Season 1. So it won't be as long as my, I don't know, like an hour and a half speed labs. So yeah, first thing, which is the most annoying part about Leo, right? Back 1-4. So the one change they did in Season 2 is that they made back 1 from -12 to -9. So this used to be -12, now it's -9. And this basically resulted in back 1-4 being unsteppable now, because of that little change. So before they changed this, back 1-4 you could step to the left, even as Kaz or some other characters, right? Or you could sometimes backswing below it, as Kaz as well. But now it's impossible to do either as a Kazuya player. You can't power crush this either, you have to eat it. Just have to eat it. You can sidestep it, but good luck stepping it. Especially when the second it has slide tracking, right? It does. So usually, most of the time what will happen is you're gonna eat it on block. So you have to do what to do when you block this, because that's usually what's gonna happen. At least it's not natural. It is not natural, so that's good. But now let's see the options, right? The options that the Leo player usually goes for after the back 1-4 is to mix you up, basically, right? Because it's +9. But the stance options aren't that wide, I guess that's the right word. There's not a lot of them, basically. And from what I found out by labbing the character, one of the best options you do here is a down jab. If you down jab here, basically this right here, right? Down jab. The Leo player cannot do anything too much to that. So I'll tell you what the Leo player can do. There's only two options actually. One option is for the Leo player to do this into Heat Burst. This is Season 2, by the way. And the down jab would get absorbed. You're not even get absorbed. You're just gonna get hit by the Heat Burst. That's one thing the Leo player can do. The second thing the Leo player can do is back 1-4 into the 3, which is a hop kick. And the hop kick here beats your down jab because it's a jump, right? But I think the down jab is still a pretty good option. It might be the best option because you're gonna force out either a Heat Burst or a hop kick. And you do not want to deal with any other move. Trust me on this. I will mention the other moves as well, most likely after this, but you do not want to deal with the other moves after back 1-4. Because if you don't do anything, mashing obviously is not recommended, sidestepping is not recommended, power crushing is not recommended either. So down jab is one of the best options, or a down 4, something like that. As I said, the only thing that beats you outside of the heat options, like Heat Burst, Heat Smash for example, it's hop kick 3. And if you block hop kick 3, you can punish it, right? This is punishable. It's -13, or the double one, -12. The other thing you can also do, this is like a very hard rate, is to sidestep this. I don't think you'll be able to step this at the back 1-4. I'm not quite sure. Let me check it. Okay, you can. You can step this. But this is a very hard read. Very hard read. But as I said, you don't need to sidestep. You don't need to risk a step. You can just block and punish it. Okay. So that's about that. You can force the 3, and after you force the 3, you start punishing it. And yeah, it's a guessing situation basically. But the down jab basically enables the situation and annoys the Leo player because it forces them to use the 3. I think the down jab is a good option. Now let's talk about the other options. Oh, wait, Ari, thank you for the raid, man. Big thank you. But yeah, let's talk about the other options. So back 1-4 also has this 1-4, which is the new option. 1-2, which existed, but it's a mix-up to the 1-4, this high. And you basically don't want to deal with this, right? You just don't want to deal with it. Because this is a +4 move that transitions into stance. And this stance has like new moves as well. I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, you don't want to deal with that. It also has the mix-up with 4 and 1+2. So two new moves I'm going to talk about is 1-4 is a new high transition. It's +4, and it's gonna be +8 if it transitions to the stance. And obviously you understand why you don't want to deal with it. But this is a mix-up. Because if the 1 comes out with a high, you can duck it. Right? The weakness of this move is that you can duck it and then punish it. And the mix-up for this is the 1-2. This one right here. This is a pure mix-up, you just have to guess. But the plus side of this mix-up is that whenever you block the mid, it's -10 and you punish it. So the Leo player does not want to use this mix-up too much, because he doesn't want to get punished, you know? But they might do the high, so it's still going to be worth it to duck it sometimes. Especially since, you know, this +8 situation into the new low is not a good situation for you. Okay, so that's one new move. Second new move. It's not a new move per se, but they just made it faster. 1+2. So the stance 1+2, this became from 25, if I remember correctly, to 22. What this means is that this is a real mix-up now to this. So this low and this mid is a real mix-up now. And the mid is -6, which is a very, very good one. Right? Very, very good frames, and also wall splats. So at the wall, this will wall splat. Very, very strong, and you don't want to get mixed by this. It's very annoying. And this is, you know, +4 normally, becomes +6 with the wave woo or whatever that is, the dash transition. So yeah, you don't want to deal with this. So that's why I would recommend doing a down jab here to force the 3 option. Because the Leo player usually does not want to use the 3 option when they're +9. Right? They don't want to do this. But if you force this out of them, they will be annoyed. And they will have to sometimes do it because the down jab stops them every time. So yeah, down jab, good option. In my opinion, anyway. Okay. Now let's talk about the other stance, which is this one. So in this stance, they gave a new low to Leo. This is another new move, which is 3+1. So this is a box stance low, double low, which is +4 and -12. Right? So this is a very, very strong low, especially because of the frames being so good for Leo. Like +4 and -12 is pretty damn good, especially since it's a pure mix-up from this stance. And especially because the mix-up option that Leo has is this tool, this one, which is a normal hit launcher, and it's also safe. So it's a very low risk and pretty damn good reward mix-up for Leo, because the low being -12, the risk is low. The reward is not that high, but +4 is still really good. But the mid is when the reward skyrockets, and you know it's a normal hit launcher, and it's being -9. The risk is pretty low. The big thing about the mid is that it's steppable to the right, but that's if you do it correctly, and then you have to know what you're doing to step it to the right. So for example, let me just showcase this. This is also another new change. While running 3 into stance. So this was a new Season 2 change that Leo got, and this makes Leo go +10 into this new stance mix-up. So you have to expect either this low or maybe this mid. You can expect some other stuff, some other options, but those other options are usually Season 1 stuff, so I'm not gonna go over them too much. But if you want to deal with this two mix-ups, this two, either 3+4 or the 2, what you have to do here is guess. You actually cannot do anything. So this is without one situation. Even though I said that the mid is steppable, it does depend on the character you play as well. But Kazuya cannot step this. Like if you try to step here, you will get hit. You cannot step here. As a Kazuya player, specifically. If you play maybe some other characters, I'm not too sure. Maybe Dragunov can step it. Maybe someone like... I'm not too sure. Maybe Lars. Lars doesn't have the best step though. But yeah, waifu characters, you can try your character out basically and see if you can step it or not. But Kaz here and the average side steps will not be able to step this. So you will just eat it and get launched if you try to step. So I would not recommend it, because if you try to step, both the mid and the low is going to hit you. There's no reason to step here if you play someone like Kaz, for example. Right? The one thing that you can do against this is a power crush. So either a power crush or a parry. So your options here are basically a power crush the mid, parry the mid, or low parry the low, or duck the low. So that's basically your options, because as I said, you cannot sidestep. I didn't record it, wait. You cannot sidestep this, either the mid or the low. If I try this, I'm gonna get hit. So it's gonna be a guess. Try to low parry this for maximum reward, or duck it, right? Obviously low parry is better, because it's -12. But it's still gonna be a mix-up. the mid is very, very scary. It's gonna be very scary. So the mix-up is not in your favor. Usually, it's not. I think this should get nerfed 100%. It should get nerfed, just like Jin's did. But right now, this is the way it is. If it gets nerfed in, let's say, mid patch, amazing. We're gonna have a different situation there. Maybe the situation is gonna be that you can step the mid now. Most likely, that's what's gonna happen. But yeah, and that's about that situation. But there are a lot of other stance transitions when it comes to this one right here. This, right? The most common one is gonna be while standing 3-1 into this stance. One of the most common ones. And the reason behind it is because while standing 3-1 is usually used after this low right here, which is also a very, very common low. So this low, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what this low is, especially when played against a Leo before. It's a +5 low, -12, it's very strong, but you know, this is not a season 2 low, so I'm not gonna talk about this too much. But what I am gonna talk about is that after this, Leo players do 3-1 almost every time. The reason they do this is because 3-1 is unsteppable. So they do this into 3-1. Right? If you try to step, it's gonna track you. It's also gonna hit you. It hurts. Doesn't hurt too much, but it hurts. So yeah, the 3-1 is very good. It is -10 by itself, but it has follow-ups and mix-ups. So let's talk about this mix-ups. The one thing is a high. So if you try to punish -10, you're gonna get countered by the high. That's one thing. You also cannot step this high. You have to duck it. You're forced to duck it, basically. But now the scary option. This is also a Season 1 stuff. This is nothing new. Now the Season 2 stuff. Even though this is also not new, I think this transition existed beforehand as well. But in Season 2, the options are better. So, as I said, this low is now a new option. So whenever, let's say, you think a high is coming and you fuzzy, let's say you duck and stand up, you're going to get mixed up by this. Or you try to do nothing because you're scared of something happening, you're going to get mixed up by this. So you have to be aware that this move transitions into that stance and will mix you up. This is going to be a mix-up. The things that you can do here is a little bit more complicated because of the high existing. If the high didn't exist, it would be a little bit simpler, but the high exists. So you have to basically either duck the high, right? That you think the high is coming, you duck it and punish it. Or you check Leo. I think that's one of the best things that you can do. It's a very simple mind game, but it can be effective. It really can be effective. The other thing you can also do is down jab. So actually two things I mentioned, right? One is challenge the high or the stand transition. Basically, it's this, right? If they do the high and you challenge, let's say I decide to challenge with a down forward 2, I'm gonna get countered. So it's like a mini guessing situation. But if they do the stand transition into the low, in that challenge, I'm gonna get a counter. So it's a very basic mix-up and guessing game when it comes to pressing your button or not, right? But it is a risky maneuver, especially since just while staying 3-1 is -10, so you won't be able to punish it with a down forward 2. Outside of that, let's talk about the second option, which is a down jab. So down jab is good here because down jab beats this, which is a stand transition, and it also beats this because it evades the high. So this right here. So every time you block 3-1, if you do a down jab, it will beat both of these options. And this is a very good option to just get away from pressure in general. So these two are the best things that you can do. The way they beat this down jab, by the way, is to do just the 3-1. Even though this is -10, you would think this might be like an option select punish, but down jab doesn't reach it. It does not reach it. Maybe some characters can reach it with their down jab, depending on how long their arms are, right? Depends. But this is how they beat it. Maybe they'll launch you for this. Who knows? I don't know if they have the frames or not. But yeah, it's still a good option because everything else, like the annoying option of this or the high, will get beaten. It will get beaten. Would I recommend the frequency for a pad player? You're slow and have a lot of misinputs. I mean, I've never used it before, but if you think it can help, sure, you can try it out. I don't have much experience with it, so I can't really recommend it or not recommend it. Okay, so that's about that, the while staying 3-1 transition. So while staying 3-1 is going to be a very common transition when it comes to that, and you just have to be careful. You have to have a lot of awareness, basically. Have a lot of awareness with it. Okay, that's about while staying 3-1 into stance, and other stuff we can talk about is some of the heat stuff, but let me see if I'm forgetting something. Am I forgetting something? I might be, but hopefully I remember later. Let's talk about the heat stuff. So in heat here, Leo basically has access to stats heat smash, which is back 1-4 heat smash. And this is gonna be a common thing that you'll see Leo players do, and this is gonna be very annoying to deal with. So all the stuff I talked about when it comes to back 1-4, when I said to down jab it, right? I also mentioned that the heat options beat the down jab, and that includes a heat smash. So if I do heat, do back 1-4, heat smash, and I try to down jab here. Let's say I try to down jab. You are gonna get beaten by this. So in heat, the mind game changes because the risk is very high. Especially at the wall, if you try to down jab, you're gonna get wall splatted. So yeah, risky. I wouldn't recommend it too much. Outside of heat, I think the down jab is fine. But if you want to beat this specific sequence, which is a heat smash, back 1-4 heat smash, you have to step to the right. And not only step, by the way, you have to sidewalk to the right. Because if you step, let's say I just step. This is what happens. The first hit whiffs, second hit tracks you, and the third hit just, comes out. But so you have to commit to a sidewalk. But this is only for this one specific sequence. So back 1-4, sidewalk, into, I don't know, whatever punish, right? Just punish it. Go in and the electric. That's one of the best ones that you can do. But you have to commit to the sidewalk, which means that almost everything else is going to hit you. Not everything is going to hit you, but almost everything is going to hit you. So it is a pretty scary thing. Sometimes it's worth it, because as I said, the heat smash is pretty scary to deal with in general. So if you sidestep it, it'll be pretty good for you. You'll also punish it. But yeah, it's very scary, because stuff like 2 will hit you. Stuff like the 1 most likely will hit you. So yeah, just do it with your own risk. If you have the read, it's worth it. It's just a good thing to know in general. Okay. And the back 1-4 heat burst, I already mentioned that as well, works exactly the same way. But I don't think you can do anything about heat burst outside of doing a down 4. Maybe down 4. Or throw, which is not worth it. Down 4 might be a good option. Okay, so that's about that. Now another new stuff in heat. And this is the low. So this low, I already talked about this low, right? This low is a mix up to 1+2. Now this low has an extension that can wall splat sometimes, depending on where the wall is. If the wall is close, this sometimes wall splats. So this is not a heat move per se, it's an install move, but usually you're gonna see it in heat. So this move is a low, which I already talked about, is a mix up to 1+2. And if you block it, so this is what's important. If you block it, let's say you block it. Bro, what the fuck? I didn't record, my bad. There we go. If you block it, this is -14. But the important part about this is that it recovers very quickly. So you see that didn't punish. If you thought that was a quite fast electric, it recovers very quickly. So you have to mash your punish here. Instantly start mashing your punish, no matter what. This is very important. Because the moment you start delaying it a little bit, it won't work. The recovery, the block recovery is basically very fast. So instantly start punishing it. By this -14, you can technically electric it, jet upper it, Lars can launch it as well with the back forward 2-1, stuff like that. Okay, that's very important. Now the other changes. This is also a season 2 change. The forward 2, 4-3, this move, which is a very strong move, right? This is a wall splat. A very, very strong move. This got buffed. This used to be +4 if it transitioned into a stance, and got buffed from +4 to +6. The season 2 change. And this changes some stuff, but otherwise the mix-up is gonna be very, very similar to something like this stance transition. It's gonna be quite similar. Because the transition allows you to step to the right. Like, let me just showcase it. Let's say they do this, stance into the 2, which is the mid, right? So if they do this, and the mid, you will be able to sidestep this. Just be careful of punishing this, because this also recovers quite quickly. When you do step it, instantly punish it. So that's how you deal with the mid option, if they do decide to go for this mid option anyway, because there are other options that are like season 1 stuff, I'm not gonna talk about that too much as I already talked about, but something like stance 1-2 can come out, power crush can come out, stuff like that. You have to be aware of that. But if you want to deal with the 2 mix-up, you can sidestep it. And if you want to deal with the low mix-up, which is the most annoying one, you just have to guess. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Just have to eat this, so eat this fully. They do the low. This low right here. You just have to guess this low. There's not that much that you can do. You can also try to hop kick here. Because maybe the 2 won't launch you if you try to hop kick. I wouldn't know. I play Gaz, so I don't have a hop kick. So something like up or 3 jumping frames. Right? Hop kick will be the best. So, yeah. And one more thing I want to mention is that sidestep duck, while it is possible, I wouldn't recommend it too much. I think it's pretty hard to do, especially in a real match. Sidestep duck might get you caught by the 2 because that's slide tracking. The 2 will still catch you if you don't do it correctly. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it too much. And you have to be aware of the other moves as well. They're very, very hard to deal with because of all of the options that you can have. Especially the 1-2 is the most common one. So what I mean is this stance 1-2 or stance 1, just 1 without the 2. These are the most common ones. But as I said, it's like season 1 stuff. Outside of the +6 situation, that's season 1 stuff. And one of the best options you can do here, by the way, to beat everything but the low is a heat burst. You cannot power crush because they're full crouch. It forces crouch. But the heat burst will work. If you still have it, anyway. Okay. Other than that, there's also this one. Back 3-1-2. This also got changed. So this is an important change because this used to be -13 and now it's -12. The pushback is a little bit less, but it's -12 now. And the reason this is very important is because for someone like us, down back 1-2 used to punish this and it used to be a heat engager, right? But you can't heat engage this anymore. And the only way you can punish this as a Kazuya player is a back 1-2. And it's important to punish this, by the way, because this is a very strong move. Back 1-2, and I tested this a couple of times. Even though it looks like it's gonna whiff, it kind of looks like back 1 just won't work. It works. Usually it works. It seems pretty consistent. What you can't do here is a 1+2. You cannot 1+2. Or 1-1-2. Let's say I try a 1-1-2. Maybe it does work. But sometimes the one jab might win. So back 1-2 is what I would recommend. I haven't tested 1-1-2 too much, so I can't say for certain. Maybe it is consistent. But back 1-2 is what I would recommend, usually. Because, you know, just play safe. Oh yeah. That's about that. I talked about the low heat move. Basically, the low heat smash, right? Talked about the heat smash. Talked about 1+2. Talked about the 1-4. I don't think I missed anything, right? I'm pretty sure I did not miss anything. Hopefully not. I did miss something in the last Elisa vid, so I don't know. But even if I miss something, I think it's fine. I think it's a-okay. The biggest thing I just want you guys to remember is that wall running 3 into the stance is very, very scary. And this too, you can't really do much about this. Outside of, as I've already mentioned, power crushing and parrying it. And hopefully this gets changed, because I think it would make sense for the wall running 3 to be less plus, just so the 2 will be sidesteppable. At least that, right? At least. Even though the options are still going to be pretty damn good for Leo. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today about the Leo Speed Lab. It didn't take that long. Usually season 2 stuff, so it's not that long. So YouTube, yeah, big thank you for watching. Big thank you, and I'll see you everyone on the next Speed Lab. Till then.